You want to build an empire? You want generational wealth? Then stop listening to broke advice from broke people and learn from the richest, wisest king in history. King Solomon didn't guess his way to power. He earned it through brutal wisdom, disciplined choices, and divine clarity. King Solomon wasn't just wise, he was strategically unstoppable. His decisions built one of the wealthiest kingdoms ever recorded. He didn't pray for money, status, or revenge. He prayed for wisdom, and that changed everything. In this video, you'll uncover 6 ruthless, powerful lessons from Solomon's wisdom that will slap the laziness out of your life. Solomon could have asked God for gold, fame, or victory, but he asked for wisdom, and because of that, he got everything else. You're out here chasing crumbs when wisdom is the damn oven. Stop hustling for quick cash. Develop a strategic mind. Wisdom compounds. Stupidity costs. You need to understand something very clearly. This world doesn't reward noise, motion, or desperation. It rewards intelligence, precision, and timing. Solomon wasn't just praying and waiting. He was positioning himself with a mindset that attracts power. While you're obsessing over your next paycheck, your next follower, your next dopamine hit, real players are sitting in silence, studying, thinking, outmaneuvering you without lifting a finger. Because wisdom isn't loud, it's lethal. Gold, that's easy to lose. Fame, one mistake and it's gone. Victory, temporary unless you know how to sustain it. But wisdom, that's the infrastructure. That's the blueprint that prints gold, commands fame, and repeats victory. You can give a fool a fortune and they'll burn it. Give a wise man nothing and he'll build an empire from dirt. We've been taught wrong. You think success is about grinding 24/7, burning out, looking busy. But that's hustle with no brain. That's movement with no direction. Solomon's story teaches us the power of asking for the right thing. He didn't ask for results. He asked for the process that creates results. That's the game. You want the fruit, but you ignore the seed. Wisdom teaches you when to act, how to act, and why to wait. Wisdom builds systems. It doesn't rely on moods or motivation. You need to stop playing checkers with your life when the game is chess. A man with wisdom plays the long game. He multiplies his resources. He sees through people. He masters leverage. That's how you build something sustainable, something that lasts long after you're gone. Wisdom is the edge that doesn't dull. It's what lets you read a room, crush negotiations, spot fake friends, pivot your business before it collapses, and know who the hell you are even when the world tries to confuse you. And the best part, it can't be stolen, it can't be faked, it has to be earned. Through humility, through mistakes, through choosing growth over ego. You've been chasing shortcuts, fast money, quick success, but real kings play a different game. They invest in the one thing no one can take from them, their mind. Solomon was the richest man because he didn't chase riches. He chased understanding. And understanding brought riches to him. Stop chasing and start becoming. Get your mind right, and everything else follows. Wisdom over wealth isn't just a principle, it's a power move. It's how legends are made. It's how dynasties are built. You want to build something great? Then stop looking for gold and become the kind of person who knows how to create it. Over and over again. Wisdom isn't optional, it's a foundation. Without it, you're just guessing. With it, you're dangerous. Cut through the lies. That's what King Solomon did, and that's what you must do if you ever want to lead, win, and dominate in a world full of noise and deception. The story is simple. 2 women, 1 baby, and 1 throne. Both women claim to be the mother. No witnesses, no DNA tests, just pure chaos. But Solomon didn't waste time in endless arguments. He didn't consult a committee. He didn't play politics. He held up a sword and said, cut the child in half. And in that brutal moment, the real mother exposed herself, not through words, but through action. The one who truly cared would rather lose than see the child harmed. That's wisdom. That's psychological warfare on a level most people are too scared to even think about. And yet it's exactly the kind of clarity you need in your own life, because you're surrounded by manipulators, excuse makers, and two-faced actors every single day. They'll smile in your face and poison your path. And if you don't have the ability to make tough, decisive calls, if you can't put pressure on situations to force the truth to rise, you will get played again and again. Solomon understood something critical. Truth doesn't always show up when it's convenient. Sometimes you have to create the tension that flushes it out. You think being nice, diplomatic, or endlessly patient is going to reveal what's real? Wake up. Life's not a damn court trial. It's war. And in war, the general who hesitates dies. The leader who tiptoes gets ambushed. You must develop the guts to say, enough, let's find the truth now. This is about decision-making. It's about power. If you don't control the narrative, someone else will. If you don't learn how to test people, how to put fire under their feet and watch what they do, not just what they say, you're going to be stuck in cycles of betrayal, misjudgment, and failure. Solomon didn't need a million opinions. He needed one high-stakes move to draw out reality. That's efficiency. That's dominance. Ask yourself, where in your life are you letting liars control the frame? Who's manipulating you because you're too soft to confront them? Where are you avoiding the hard conversation, the painful truth, the sword moment? You want clarity? Then create it. You want loyalty? Then test it. You want results? Then force them. In a world where everyone's performing and pretending, the leader must cut, not for destruction, but for revelation. The sword isn't about violence, it's about vision. And when you wield it with conviction, the fakes fall away, the truth stands tall, and you gain what weak people will never have, clarity, backed by courage. Because that's how Solomon led. And that's how you must move if you want to build something real. Discipline builds dynasties because empires aren't born, they're built. Brick by brick, decision by decision, standard by standard. Look at Solomon. The man ruled over one of the greatest kingdoms in ancient history. He didn't do that by manifesting or hoping everything would work out. He showed up. Day in, day out. He executed on law, economics, architecture, trade, governance, and spiritual leadership. He wasn't sitting on satin sheets getting fanned by servants while the world magically aligned itself. He was commanding, directing, enforcing. You don't get a temple that legendary or a legacy that eternal by living in comfort. You get it by making discipline your goddamn default. Everyone wants the palace, but nobody wants the schedule. Everybody wants the goal, but they refuse the grind. That's why most people stay broke, not just financially, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Solomon didn't just build buildings, he built systems. Systems that didn't need him to babysit every detail. Systems that turned vision into legacy. And those systems, they're built on discipline, discipline to think long term, discipline to delay gratification, discipline to say no to distractions, discipline to show up and lead when no one else is willing to make the call. Your dreams mean nothing without discipline. Your ideas, your ambition, your passion, all worthless if they aren't backed by consistent execution. The world doesn't reward potential. It rewards proof. And discipline is your receipt. It's the only thing separating royalty from mediocrity. While other men get emotional, kings get structured. While the average guy talks about feeling motivated, the elite follow a routine that works, even when they don't feel a damn thing. You think Solomon felt inspired every day? No. But the stones got laid, the laws got passed, the kingdom kept growing Because discipline doesn't wait for inspiration. And here's the brutal truth. Your feelings are killing your future. Every time you say, I don't feel like it, you're giving power to the weakest version of yourself. That voice is the enemy. That voice is poverty in disguise. Discipline says, I don't care how I feel. I care what I said I'd do. Discipline doesn't negotiate with laziness. It commands. It conquers. It completes. You want to lead like Solomon? Then live like Solomon. Govern your day like a kingdom. Track your time like treasure. Execute on your goals like laws passed by a throne. You are either the ruler of your routine or the slave of your excuses. There is no in-between. Solomon didn't worship comfort, and neither should you. Comfort is where greatness goes to die. But discipline is the fire that forges kings. So get ruthless with your standards. Build rituals that make you unbeatable. Hold yourself to the highest code, because when you live like a king internally, the outside world eventually reflects it. That's how dynasties are born. Not by chance, not by fate, but by the daily disciplined grind of someone who refuses to settle. Be that person. Build your empire. And don't you dare flinch. Surround yourself with builders, because empires are not built by accident. And they sure as hell aren't built alone. King Solomon didn't just sit on a golden throne issuing commands. He selected excellence. He assembled architects who could turn ideas into infrastructure. He trusted scholars who could think generations ahead. He dealt with traders who knew how to move wealth and expand influence. And he commanded warriors who protected what he built. He wasn't surrounded by yes men, cowards, or complainers. He was surrounded by builders, men of vision, men of execution, men who could carry the weight of responsibility and multiply value. That's how dynasties are forged. You've probably got people around you who wouldn't even show up for themselves, let alone for your mission. You're trying to rise with people who are addicted to mediocrity, allergic to pressure, and offended by discipline. That's why you're stuck. That's why you feel like your goals are dragging instead of launching, because you've got emotional liabilities trying to board your rocket ship, and they weren't built for the... Audit your circle like your life depends on it, because it does. Ask yourself, who in your life is an asset? Who's an anchor? Who sharpens your vision and who makes you doubt it? Who pushes you forward and who pulls you back with guilt, weakness, or comfort? You don't need people who understand you. You need people who upgrade you. Builders don't just clap for you. They challenge you, correct you, collaborate with you, and compete with you in a way that sharpens your edge. They force you to level the hell up, because they won't tolerate your excuses, and you shouldn't tolerate theirs. You're not obligated to carry dead weight just because of history, bloodline, or guilt. Loyalty is earned, not given to everyone with a familiar face. Solomon built a kingdom because he wasn't afraid to curate his environment. He didn't let weak voices steer the ship. He chose people who could build in skill, in wisdom, in mindset. And so should you. If your circle isn't constructing something powerful, then you're just sitting in a damn sandbox pretending you're building castles. This is war, and war demands warriors. Cut the comfort crowd. Fire the excuse makers. Release the energy vampires. Your time is not a donation. It's an investment. And you better protect it like your future depends on it. Because it does. If you want a Solomon-sized legacy, you need Solomon-level standards. You don't get to build greatness with people who are afraid of pressure. Surround yourself with those who thrive in fire, because only then will you forge something that actually lasts. You're not here to babysit mediocrity. You're here to build. So gather the architects. Rally the warriors. Respect the scholars. Connect with traders, and never again let a pastor take the seat meant for a builder. Solomon wrote, The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and you better believe he meant it. Not fear like hiding in a corner or trembling like a coward. That's not what this is. This is alignment. This is recognition of a force greater than you, a force that doesn't negotiate, doesn't care about your excuses, your pity parties, or your fragile ego. It's about respect for divine structure, universal law, the moral gravity that holds this world together. Without that grounding, you're just another loud fool with ambition but no compass, drifting, shouting, achieving nothing that lasts. Most people today walk around thinking they're the center of the universe. Their emotions guide their decisions. Their desires define their truth. And then they wonder why nothing works, why their relationships fall apart, why their business collapses, why they keep chasing the next hit of dopamine without ever tasting fulfillment. The answer is simple. You've disconnected from the source. You've tried to play God instead of fearing him. And that always ends in destruction. Solomon understood something most people ignore. Real wisdom starts when you surrender to something higher. That fear, the awe, the respect, the reverence. It creates clarity, it sets boundaries, it strips away your ego and forces you to confront the reality that you're accountable not just to man-made systems, but to something eternal. Top profit in our society. Well, when you live like that, you stop making stupid choices. You stop compromising your values for temporary gain. You start making decisions that build legacy, not just profit. You want mental toughness? You want ruthless clarity? You want unshakable leadership? Then start by fearing something bigger than yourself. Because when you fear God, you fear nothing else. Not failure, not critics, not even death. That kind of alignment makes you powerful. You move with authority. You speak with certainty. Your mission becomes non-negotiable. Because it's not just about you anymore, it's about serving a purpose that outlives you. Solomon ruled with unmatched wisdom, not because he was born smarter, but because he humbled himself. He knew he wasn't the top of the food chain. He knew that without God, he was just another man with a crown. That humility made him dangerous. And that's what most people today are missing. They're arrogant but empty, loud but clueless. And the reason? No foundation, no fear, no alignment. So if your life feels off track, your business is chaotic, or your spirit is tired, it's time to ask yourself one brutal question. Who or what are you submitting to? Because if the answer is your feelings, your followers, or your fantasies, you've already lost. But if you can kneel before truth, before order, before God, then you'll stand like a king in the face of any storm. The fear of God isn't weakness, it's power in its purest form. And it's the only foundation strong enough to carry the weight of real success. Success without integrity is failure. Make no mistake about it. King Solomon had it all. Wisdom, wealth, power, influence beyond imagination. But at the end of his life, all that brilliance, all that divine insight began to crumble. Why? Because he drifted, he compromised, he let foreign voices and desires chip away at the standards that once made him unstoppable. And that's the brutal truth most people don't want to face. When you start making small compromises with your character, you're not just slipping, you're sabotaging. The fall doesn't come overnight. It comes silently, gradually, while you're too distracted counting coins and collecting applause to notice the cracks forming beneath your feet. Solomon built an empire, but in the end he couldn't hold it together. Why? Because he violated the very principles that made him great. When your ambition outgrows your integrity, you've already lost. That's a cancer. Power without principle isn't power, it's poison. You can win every deal, stack every dollar, dominate every opponent, but if you lose yourself in the process, it's all worthless. What good is a kingdom built on sand? What good is your name if it's stained with betrayal, lies, and shortcuts? People today are obsessed with results, but Solomon's life teaches us this. Results without roots won't survive the storm. You don't just need to succeed, you need to succeed with soul. Your name, your legacy, your reputation, they're worth more than a temporary win. Every shady deal, every dishonest move, every time you break your word just to get ahead, it costs you. Maybe not now, maybe not next week, but the bill always comes due. Solomon's wisdom wasn't just about knowing what to do. It was about doing it consistently. The moment you stop walking your truth, you start walking toward your destruction. Real success isn't about what people see. It's about what you protect when no one's watching. Can you walk away from a dirty opportunity, even when it looks profitable? Can you tell the truth, even when it costs you the deal? That's the measure of a true empire builder. Not how loud you roar, but how clean you stand when the spotlight's off. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being principled. You don't need to be a saint, but you damn sure need to have a code. Because without one, you're just another fraud with a fancy suit and an expiration date. Solomon's story is a warning to every high performer, every empire builder, every ambitious soul. Don't lose the fire that forged you. Don't trade your integrity for influence. Don't sacrifice your standards for status. Success gained by compromising your character is nothing more than a countdown to collapse. So ask yourself, am I building something eternal or just something impressive? Because if it can't stand on truth, it won't stand at all. Protect your name, guard your principles, build with integrity, or don't build at all. Solomon's wisdom wasn't soft, it was sharp, strategic, powerful. If you want to win at life, business, and purpose, then stop being emotional and start being intentional. Don't just ask for success, become the person success is drawn to. Remember, wisdom is the weapon, execution is the war, and your empire is waiting.